Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Petrovsky, and today I'm going to talk to you about a policy that should be put in place that will help us as a nation reduce our carbon emissions and halt the effects of climate change so that we don't see any more damage on the planet than we already have. So first, we're going to get into some of the effects of climate change, what causes climate change, what the future damage of and effects climate change will leave us with, and how or what can be done in order to stop this progression. To dive right in, over the last couple of years, we have seen how the world has been affected by climate change and global warming. In a document presented by Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others called the Green New Deal, it was stated that the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and the November 2018 Fourth National Climate Assessment Report found that human activity is the dominant cause of observed climate change over the past century. Most of climate change is indeed due to human activity, such as red meat consumption, cutting down trees all over the globe and in large numbers at a time, which means that the amount of carbon in the air cannot be turned into oxygen as fast because there's less trees. Car pollution contributes to that, energy sources that are not environmentally friendly, and many more. This causes a rise in temperatures worldwide, which causes glaciers to melt at an accelerated pace, which can then contribute to the rising sea levels we have been observing. We also have seen or maybe even been affected by the immense fires on the West Coast and enormous and dangerous hurricanes that sweep the eastern coast of the United States and places near there. Along with climate change, we have seen how trash and plastic has plagued our environment, and that also contributes to some of the damage we have seen in the oceans, such as coral reefs dying. Due to rising temperatures and destruction of rainforests, we are starting to see the extinction of certain animals. Now, these are just some of the examples of how climate change has already affected us, and if the progression is not soon halted, we are looking at some much more serious effects and scenarios. According to a summary that was made for lawmakers by the International Panel on Climate Change, the effects of climate change on human and natural systems impacts can have beneficial or adverse outcomes for livelihoods, health and well-being, ecosystems, species, services, infrastructure, and economical, social, and cultural assets. This, in the future, is what we risk when we continue to sit by and watch our actions as humans destroy our planet. Our future is starting to look very grim, and we only have around 12 years or less until a lot of this damage that is being done is completely irreversible. In fact, if temperatures continue to rise, certain regions affected will have to migrate to other regions, and the same goes for if sea levels continue to rise. Land will start to disappear, and those affected will have to move to another area. At one point, everything that we take for granted, such as clean water, air that is breathable, and healthy food, is at risk. Because of these observed effects, people around the world have started to take initiative. We have heard on the news or seen on social media stories of people going around and cleaning up oceans of trash, using metal straws to help the sea turtles, or even people slowing down their consumption of red meats or any type of meat. And they have started their own community gardens and even planted trees. These were all done by concerned citizens of varying places around the globe. We have seen these concerned citizens plus thousands of more take to the streets for protests that are demanding change. In fact, while reading an article on climatechat.org, 7 in 10 Americans think clean energy should be a high priority for the federal government. This is just one example of the statistics we have about Americans and how they feel about wanting to help out with climate change by becoming more sustainable. But these statistics speak. It shows that these people are ready and wanting change for the better, and with all the new findings and information being released about climate change, more and more people are becoming more concerned. Therefore, I think in order to see big change, we need change on a massive level. And by massive level, I mean we need the help of Congress members and/or state legislators. We need a policy that will present and introduce sustainability in our society, and we need to find substitutes for carbon-emitting machines that are used every day. I understand that many people think that this topic is too big to cover and they don't see a way out, which is why I think this topic has not been addressed as it should have been. But if time is dedicated to climate change, something can be done about it. We can start using buses more often and not driving cars everywhere, or putting solar panels up in neighborhoods. There are many other ways in which we can solve this problem. A National Geographic online article written by Christina Nunes, who writes often about energy and innovation, states that improvements of energy and to energy efficiency and fuel economy, increases in wind and solar power, biofuels from organic waste, setting a price on carbon, and protecting forests are all potent ways to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide and other gases trapping heat on the planet. She also states that nearly all of these solutions exist today. Many people argue and say that all these solutions that others have come up with are too expensive, but nothing is free, and in the long run, starting change now will be less expensive than waiting. In the same document presented by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others mentioned earlier, it was found that more than $5 billion in lost annual economic output in the United States by the year 2100 if action is not taken soon. This is why I am asking Congress members and state legislators to step up and take action on this and create a policy that will help out humankind and our planet so that the future will survive. We are ready for change and we are ready for a more sustainable way of life, and we need the combined help of those who are able to make laws. Future is not promised, but if we take action on climate change now, there is a better chance that there will be a future. Thank you for listening. So that was my policy. Do you guys have any questions or comments, concerns, anything to add?
I have a question for you. So what do you plan to do to do your part in affecting climate change and like the change in the climate?
So to kind of answer that question, I think it's really hard. I've thought about that before, and it's like, it's such a big problem that it's kind of hard to see like how you would make an impact, if you know what I mean. Like, so I don't know. I think recycling, that's always a good thing. You can donate to a lot of companies that work around the world. Like, have you heard of like Oceana? I think that's what it's called. They like clean up the oceans. You can donate to a lot of other companies or organizations that are already really successful. That's what I would kind of say. Planting trees, that sounds weird, like plant trees, but like it, you know, creates oxygen for us and stuff like that. I use transportation systems on campus now. I think it's, or I just walk. It's kind of silly for me to drive to campus. So just stuff, little stuff like that, I think is kind of starting to help. And yeah, but on a massive or a bigger level, I think it's kind of hard to like see that, which is kind of a problem. So yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does. Sorry, I couldn't unmute my thing.
Does anyone else have any questions?
So what do you see as kind of, you know, obviously we're going to need to get energy from somewhere, and if it's not going to be from, you know, coal-fired plants, what do you see as the future of our energy production, and what do you think is the most viable?
I would say I've been seeing or reading that there's a lot of solar panels going up. And like, have you guys ever like just like drive past like a huge cornfield and it's like full of solar panels? Have you guys seen those? I don't know. I've seen those. And I think that's a way that we're really trying to like substitute. I don't know how big that's going to be, but that's one way I think is like a really good substitute or option that we have right now. So yeah, but I think with all the news and coverage and stuff about climate change, that people really are starting to come up with new ideas and new resources to use that are going to be sustainable and good for the environment.
Thanks.
Kind of bouncing off Miranda's question, but have you ever thought about or like would ever consider doing something on a smaller scale to make a change, like doing something here at school, like getting just like people at USC, the students at USC to get involved?
I have thought about it. I know that there are some clubs already on campus that like Green Greeks. You just kind of, I mean, that just cleans up trash, which of course is awesome, but like to put it more of like on a bigger level, if you will, on a smaller level, like I know there's clubs and stuff you can get involved in. I haven't really thought about it too much, but I'm sure there's stuff. Yeah. Does anyone have any other questions? Have you guys ever thought about ways that you could become more involved in climate change, trying to halt progression?
I think, well, like growing up, the recycling, like I lived outside of the city limits, so like recycling wouldn't even come to my house, so like we never recycled. So like I think that like that would be like a good change is like making recycling accessible to like everyone's home and
Yeah.
not just be trash.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, just
Oh, you can go. You can go.
uh, going off what you said, just in terms of trying to live like a greener lifestyle, I think just being, something I try to do is just be more conscious of, leaving lights on, or, if it's cool outside, opening a window instead of, running the AC or the heat.
Hmm.
Just doing, little things like that to kind of, reduce your footprint
Yeah.
is something that I try and do. So.
Yeah. Those are really good ideas.
Okay, I have like a question. So like have electrical cars like helped at all? Like have they been proven to be like beneficial at all?
That's a really good question. I've also kind of wondered that because, like, I know some of my friends, you guys like know what the Nissan Leaf is?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was kind of curious if that helped at all because like it was like you didn't use gas, but you had to plug it into a wall for like literally 12 hours. So I don't know how like did that
Yeah.
even out so much. I think that was kind of more for like tax purposes,
Okay.
unfortunately. But I'm curious about that too. I'm not sure to answer your question. I don't know. But
Thank you.
well, is that it? Any more questions? No? Okay, cool. Thanks you guys for listening. Bye.